Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about the 3 new uniforms for Crystal, She-Hulk, and Moon Girl before the uniform sale for these 3 characters goes away, because I think all 3 of these characters were pretty poor and pretty underused before they got their uniforms, and I think all 3 of these uniforms are good in the sense that they address the character's weaknesses and give them some additional strengths to buff them up while not being too overpowered. So I think this is really the sweet spot for future uniforms and future reworks that Netmarble should be aiming for with characters, unless they want to make them super powerful, a la Winter Soldier. So starting off with Moon Girl, she doesn't have a uniform, and because she is a blast type character and because she is a summon character, she has Devil Dinosaur, her base stats are very low. So if you take away her uniform, you'll see that her base stats are actually criminally low. She's rocking 12,500 energy physical attack with tier 2 and with a CTP of patience. So that is insanely low, and that is because she is a summon character. She's a character that has a persistent summon like Kid Kaiju, or a character that summons heavily like Kingpin. So because of that, Netmarble decides to, or the Marvel Future Fight devs, reduce the base stats of the character in order to not make them too powerful. So because of that, the uniform is actually really important because it buffs up her stats. Additionally, on top of the regular stats that you get at buffed for just, ranking up the uniform to Mythic, the uniform effect adds an additional 20% all attack, all defense, all speed. That stacks with Devil Dinosaur on top of the stack from the regular stat buff, which is now seeing her almost 1600 physical attack and 20,000 HP, on top of the fact that Devil Dinosaur goes from a 120% of her stats to 140. So just in general, when characters that rely on uniforms like Loki, Ultron, those kinds of characters, when they get uniforms, it's a little bit more important if their summons are actually good, because it'll make them even better. On top of that, Netmarble decided to address her skills. Now, prior to her uniform, her base kit was pretty bad in the survivability department, and if you played as her, you knew, or you know, that you had to skate around a lot to get away from your enemies, because she only has a short iframe on 1 and a short iframe on 5. That's it. She doesn't have any other ways of defending herself. She doesn't have any guard, any invincibility, immunity, anything at all. She has some kind of chance to miss, which is kind of like dodge. And she has some other effects, but those only apply in Shadowlands. So she was basically unusable for World Boss. Now, I honestly think that you can use her in World Boss. I wouldn't expect her to be, a killer for World Boss, possibly a stage 20 for someone like Corvus, or, a little bit lower for someone like Cull Obsidian. But I do expect her to be usable, functional, and definitely able to push higher levels of Shadowland, as I will show you. Because now she has iframes on 1, 2, and 5, in addition to Bubble Pop, 5, in addition to the silence on Moonbeam, and a 5-second invincibility on her 3rd skill, which also gives her a 2nd summon. So she's got 2 summons, 5 seconds of invincibility, and 3 different iframe skills. Her 5th skill also gives her an 8 guard hit. So huge amount of survivability piled on top of a huge damage boost. So that, in my book, is a huge win. If you're a fan of Moon Girl, you should pick up this uniform. If you genuinely love this character and you like playing with her in the game and you want her to be better, pick up this uniform. But if you never use this character anyways, you can probably pass on this uniform. It's not transcendent. But let's see what she does in some gameplay. So Moon Girl in Shadowland is pretty usable now, whereas she wasn't before. She's got iframes now, she's got good damage, and she's basically able, with Devil Dinosaur's help and her new summon, to keep opponents locked down. Now, I did take quite a bit of damage there at the beginning from Scott, and I'm actually kind of scared that he's going to still kill me, because he has the 3rd skill that penetrates iframe, and it does a lot of damage. He actually just killed Devil Dinosaur, so I kind of want to lock him down. But with all her debuff ability, with the fact that her tier 2 passive enhances the effect of her debuffs, you can keep your enemies pretty locked down. Between the hits, between the silence, between the stun, and all this kind of stuff, they basically just stand there getting shocked, getting damaged. And she does respectable damage. As you can see, she cleared that with 20 seconds left. So you can almost kind of face tank with all the iframes. It's actually really fun to play. And then you also have Armored Devil Dinosaur. You can see they're slapping things around and just kind of getting things done for her, even when she's not doing damage herself. Moving along to Crystal. Unlike Moon Girl, she has a previous uniform, but sadly her previous uniform royal suit is just pretty much garbage. It didn't really change anything at all about the character, so you can basically consider these two exactly the same. The only real difference here is that with no uniform, she has just one iframe on her third skill. With her new, or her first uniform, she has a short iframe at the end of her fifth skill, in addition to the short iframe on her third skill, but it's basically the exact same. Her new uniform, again, like Moon Girl, changes a lot. It changes all 5 skills. It adds invincibility in addition to an iframe on her second skill. It gives her 5 seconds of immunity on her third skill, and it gives her an iframe on her fourth skill and an iframe on her fifth skill. Those are 2, so she has 2 full iframes now, some partial iframes on 2, and then the immunity on 3. So tons of survivability. She also has additional damage kind of perks. She has way higher AoE on her fifth skill, which is crazy, and she also looks like Avatar. So if you're a fan of Aang, if you're a fan of Korra, you're really going to like this. On top of that, for all of you Fantastic Four fans, in the details page, it's going to give her the ability of Fantastic Four, and I'll hide the camera here so you guys can see. And because of that, she will be allowed to take advantage of any of the buffs that either Thing or Mr. Fantastic apply. So Mr. Fantastic's leadership will apply to this uniform, and Thing's passive, his tier 2 passive, will also give Crystal a 40% buff, super armor, reduced reflection, etc. Like Moon Girl, I think that this does make Crystal much more usable and functional if you like playing with the character, if you enjoy this kind of playstyle and this kind of animation for skills, if you like the Inhumans. I think she'll be able to do World Boss possibly a little bit higher than Moon Girl, a little bit more impressive because of Ebony Maw, so she can do maybe 20, maybe 30 for Ebony Maw, maybe 35. But beyond that, I don't imagine her to be a super powerhouse, but still functional, absolutely. And so pick it up if you love the Fantastic Four, pick it up if you love Crystal. Otherwise, if you just never use this character anyways, you can probably skate by and you can avoid this one for now until it becomes an optional uniform for some super epic Inhumans uniform for Black Bolt in the future. So pretty much all 4 elements, water, earth, wind, and fire, were in harmony until the Fire Nation attacked. So that's all you need to know really about Crystal. We had a bad start here with Cyclops, but we're going to be able to lock these clowns down really soon because Crystal has always been quite good at Shadowland because of the lockdown mechanics on all of her skills, all of the different debuffs that she's applying, the stuns, the burns, the lightning, the blind, the all defense down, all that stuff, the kind of encampment or the entombment where she puts you in a bunch of rocks. She's always been very good for Shadowland, and now she's just even better. She's able to do higher stages because of the fact that she can iframe more consistently, and she has the invincibility, so she doesn't really have to, or the immunity, so she doesn't have to worry about taking damage. She has so many skills that can protect her. She basically, even though I took damage and I played poorly at the beginning, you can still see that she's able to easily clear this stage solo, level 60, and it'll only get better when she gets to level 70. She could probably do any stage in Shadowland at this point with this uniform. So that is pretty nice from a Shadowland perspective. Finally, let's take a look at SheHulk. Now, like Crystal, SheHulk had a previous uniform, but it basically did nothing for her skills. All it did was improve her leadership. So it was seen as kind of a milking process for players who use her in ABX as a leadership to get more money out of them by having them spend crystals on basically a meaningless uniform. So it's really nice to see that they didn't do that this time around. They did bump up her leadership again from 55 to 60%, so went 48, 55, 60. That is true, but they also overhauled all of her skills. So it's really nice to see them finally giving SheHulk some love. She desperately needed it. Now, just to get it out of the way, just like Crystal, SheHulk also has the Fantastic Four ability, so she will also benefit from Reed's leadership and Thing's tier 2 passive, although she doesn't need it because she has guard break immunity, but the all attack buff is really nice. As far as her skills go, without a uniform, without a uniform or with this uniform, it's actually pretty sad. SheHulk has nothing on all 4 of her skills, just damage, no iframes, nothing, no buffs, nothing. Only her 5th skill has an iframe. That's it. It's a barren wasteland. This is like a 2015 character. It's rough out here for SheHulk. With her new uniform, it's night and day. Her first skill remains pretty much unchanged, But after that, we get some really good stuff. The end of her second skill has an iframe, and it does a lot of damage. It's quite good. Her third skill has 5 seconds of immunity in addition to all defense down, which is great for world boss. Her fourth skill has a nice long iframe, and then her fifth skill has a very long, nice iframe. Now, her fifth skill can be a bit frustrating because it's a super long iframe, so I would recommend trying to get max attack speed on her specifically to deal with that, but I think it's going to be night and day for her as far as the uniform goes. If for people who like playing as She-Hulk, she's absolutely usable now, whereas she was completely unusable before. This is kind of like a Winter or a War Machine type upgrade. She's not as powerful as War Machine, but in terms of bringing the character from 0 to quite functional, it is definitely like that. Now, I don't imagine she's going to be too amazing for World Boss, but she will be able to do, I would imagine, some Corvus, possibly some low Thanos, below 10, maybe 5. Because of her leadership, she can kind of self-carry, especially if you give her to support characters. She'll definitely be able to do that. She doesn't have the leadership tag, so she can't take advantage of White Fox, but she could definitely take advantage of like Coulson and Shuri and definitely put some smack down and put a dent and make some damage and some noise in World Boss. And then, as you'll see, she's also pretty handy for Shadowland. Before her buff, there is no way that She-Hulk could have ever completed this stage. Now, I don't actually know if I can complete the stage fully because of the fact that these guys like to move around and she doesn't have a ton of AoE on her skills, but she gets a lot closer than she would have ever been. You just have to keep Scott kind of locked down in between skills because he likes to use his third skill to interrupt you because your fifth skill has such a long iframe, so you just have to keep track of that, and that's why I mentioned the max attack speed for her, so that you can avoid those types of characters that can be super annoying like Scott. As you can see there, he's trying to interrupt me, and he actually did it again. But she can survive. If you gave her a heal or some sort of CTP of refinement, she would probably do very good. She just killed Beast there. We got one of the male characters down. We got Cyclops coming down here real soon, and she basically survives. Now, we didn't actually get to clear this one. If I practice a little bit more and I can kind of manage my skills a little bit better, she can definitely do it. But she's hella tanky now, and besides Cyclops trying to stun me with his third skill, there's basically nothing that can stop her unless you have penetration because of the iframes and the immunity. So let me know what you guys think of these 3 new uniforms. Let me know which new Fantastic Four uniforms you would like to see for other existing characters. Do you want to see Spider-Man's Fantastic Four uniform or others? Let me know down below in the comments. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.